All right, here we are once again for the Fool's Journey by the Third Eye of Providence. Thank you guys so much for coming along this journey so far, starting January 1st with the Fool's card. We are on episode number 22, which brings us to card number 21, the World. And this is the final card of the Major Arcana. Again, Robert Hansen's Tarot here. This can be read in reverse. And the Twin Tarot, light positive aspect of the card, the World. And the shadow negative aspect of the World. So, if you have not checked out the prior episodes, do make sure to hit the save button on the playlist and you can go along at your own speed. The next couple episodes are going to be condensed for the many different suits following the Major Arcana and the Minor Arcana of the Tarot. So let's get into the World card. Number 21, we're going to read the description from the Complete Book of Tarot, A Comprehensive Guide by Anthony Lewis. Let me show you the imagery of the World card in the book, so you can get a traditional sense of what this card will look like across many versions of the Tarot. So, the World, it says Paradise Regained. It might also be called the Universe in other different Tarot decks. The astrology connected with this card is Saturn. This is the outermost visible planet, and Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius. The four figures surrounding the central wreath in this card represent the four fixed signs of the zodiac. So you have Taurus the bull, Leo the lion, Scorpio the scorpion and the eagle, and Aquarius the water bearer. The card of the World is of course associated with the element earth. And again, as we've discussed in other cards, that is also a Saturnian connection because Saturn rules the material plane. So of course we would have earth energy there. Now, the archetype and the myth connected with this card, of course, we'll be talking about the Garden of Eden, Paradise Regained, the Sign of the Cross. There's also the Second Coming mentioned here, and the New Jerusalem. Okay, so throughout the traditions of the Tarot, when the World card appears upright in a reading, going back to 1888 in the Mathers deck, this would be a good reward or a completion. In the reverse, it would be recompense or evil. Now, in the Rider-Waite, this is going to mean assured success, a voyage, a route, an emigration, a flight, a change of place in the upright. In the reverse, it's going to represent inertia, fixity, stagnation, and permanence. Interesting. Now, in the order of the Golden Dawn, when the World appears upright in a reading, it's going to represent the world, of course, kingdoms, and synthesis. The matter inquired about, hence what the World signifies, will depend largely on the accompanying cards in the order of the Golden Dawn. So this is a card that is to be read in relation to the cards surrounding it. Now, so when the World appears upright in a reading, traditionally it's going to represent and highlight an important goal or a destination in your life. You may be approaching the completion of a significant ambition, or perhaps you're about to embark on a new journey to achieve a cherished desire. In any case, you're dealing with a major stage in your development, and you will need all the resources at your disposal to bring matters to a successful conclusion. Just as Saturn, the last planet visible to the naked eye, marks the outermost visible boundary of the solar system, the World card marks the end of the Fool's journey toward enlightenment. Arriving at this card is a sign of completion, enlightenment, and success. You are returning to the Garden of Eden. Wonderful. Now, in the reverse, it's going to mean that you are somehow hindered or delayed in your journey toward an important destination. Perhaps you're unaware of your own limits and have failed to set realistic goals. You need to examine and confront what is holding you back so that you can resume your forward movement. Will you continue your current attitude or behavior? And if so, it will result in expulsion from the Garden of Eden. All right, very interesting. So, like the book describes, the traditional interpretation of this card will have the 4 fixed signs here. And this maiden will be typically dancing. Sometimes it's the fool as well, but this is supposed to represent the enlightened version of the fool, right? The balance, the skill, the finesse, the joy. Do you see the flowers in the crown? Typically a wreath, especially a laurel wreath like this, is going to represent victory, as we've seen in other cards. So this is like a successful completion in this position. The other thing I want to point out is that there is this big burst of light behind the person in the center here. That's like, of course, enlightenment, like we've said in other symbolisms of this card. And I want you to kind of think about this as a portal, right? This person is, of course, they're dancing, but they're also stepping into a new chapter because this is the last card of the Major Arcana. Major Arcana energy, when it appears in readings, are very significant, more so than the other cards we're going to get into in the Minor Arcana. These are energies that are, let's say, primary forces in the reading versus a secondary or even tertiary force in a reading. Okay, so we got into this. Now let's see what this Twin Tarot is showing us, right? We have again here the Fool dancing with the ribbons all around them. Of course, we've talked about this before, that the nakedness represents vulnerability and purity, and this is just the spirit being possessing the body versus the body being in control of the spirit. Now, I also want to point out that in this card, the wreath is actually silver and gold. So this is alchemy, and again, we've talked about how this is the final completion of the Fool's journey. So this is to represent alchemical mastery, right? The blending of silver and gold, and it also represents Kundalini, and it represents, I would say, like a DNA upgrade, right? Especially with them pointing to the star above. To me, that sort of represents otherworldly influence. Now, I also want you to see how we have the doggy from the Fool card here, the white spirit, and we have the shadow spirit also here. And both of them are happy and dancing. They're balanced, and she is in flow with them. So this is mastery over the positive and negative forces. This is a very positive omen to get. Now, in the shadow aspect, you'll notice that the star is missing. You know, they're still at the end of the journey. They still have the alchemical mastery. They still have the 2 forces here, and they are in balance, but they're in balance in a negative way, in a stagnated way. That's why this person is no longer dancing. That's why the ribbons are stuck in that position. And you can see the face is much, much sadder. So this is still a completion of sorts, but maybe not quite as quickly as expected, or there's some disappointment involved. Still, either way, the World card is going to represent a final chapter and a new start. This is still a portal either way. And the Saturnian energy is very evident here as well. Saturn energy is the test. It's after this card comes after the judgment. So after the final judgment, you are either going to go in this direction or in this direction. Either way, Saturn will grant you your final reward here. It just might not be exactly what you were anticipating, or it might be even more than you could even have imagined. So that's kind of what we have for the world card. If there's some symbolism in other tarot, or there's something here I didn't pick up on that you feel is important for other people who are learning along with us to know, please drop a comment in the box below. It's super appreciated. And if this helped you at all, make sure to hit the like button. It helps it expand this content to other people and helps me out with the algorithms. If you're not already subscribed, please make sure to hit that button as well so you can finish the rest of the Fool's Journey along with us. Otherwise, hit the save button to this playlist and you can follow along at your own pace. Either way, thank you guys so much for your support and taking the Fool's Journey with us all the way through the world card. Stay tuned for the next episodes. We're going to have condensed content for the Minor Arcana, and we're going to get all the way through that by the end of January. So thank you guys for tuning in.